And I thought it was a really mature game from our group. We played hard, we played fast, we got pucks in behind the other team's D-core so that they had to turn and solve problems. So you asked me what I said on the bench. I think the players did the talking.
Yes, they certainly did, and clearly lessons were learned from the last game. Welcome to Got Your Back, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Nobody puts in wood, windows, or siding anymore. Why build a wood fence or deck? Do it once, do it right with high-quality, maintenance-free vinyl. Call my brothers Rick or Rob at DLR Vinyl, locations in Calgary and in Edmonton. Today on the podcast, for a second consecutive game, well, the Oilers found their stride early, and this time they managed to keep it. In our Park Mazda Breakdown with Struds, we'll dive into a convincing win over the Buffalo Sabres. Dreger and Duthie stop by, courtesy Belvan Construction. We'll look ahead to the upcoming trade deadline for both the host and the insider. In our De Boer's Who's Got Your Back segments, a country music icon lends a helping hand to one of this country's biggest up-and-coming stars. Presented by DLR Vinyl Products, this is Got Your Back. There he is, Jason Strudwick. Good morning, my friend. I know it's an early one. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm an early riser, buddy. Let's get after it, right? Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's figuring out how to make use of these early morning hours, right? That's the key to life. If you could take advantage of the early morning hours, then you've got it beat. Now, what would you normally be doing at this time? I feel like you'd be like throwing some weights around or something, or what would you normally be up to?
Yeah, actually, I already got up and worked out. I couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited. So I got up this morning early, worked out, made the kids lunches. And so I'm ready to rumble, buddy. I'm all yours.
Yeah, me too, buddy. This has been a journey getting it to this point. I know we've probably been super annoying to everybody, killing them with Twitter feeds and promos and stuff. But it's been a couple of weeks in the making, and I'm super excited that we're off and running here on Got Your Back. So got to say, man, I'm super, super happy that you decided to sign on and do this. And I don't know. I think it'll be fun, buddy.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. And, we got a hot team to talk about, so it makes it even that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, we might as well get to it. Time now for the breakdown, brought to you by Park Mazda, where the newly redesigned 2022 CX-5 has arrived. Check out the brand new all-wheel drive sport design trim with its turbocharged engine and see the available colors and trims in stock at parkmazda.ca. And on the Park Mazda breakdown, a 6-1 win for the Oilers. Make it 4 consecutive wins for this team, Struds. They're definitely hitting their stride. And in particular, what I take note of is it's 2 games in a row where their big guns, their top 6, came out and set a tone in a game.
Yeah, they sure did. What I think it was different, though, against Sabres versus the Wings is that they kept that level the whole game. I think that the Oilers' top 2 lines absolutely had their way with the Sabres. Didn't matter which centerman, really which deep pairing. They came out, Leon was pressing, Connor was pressing. All the night, they were above the puck, making good decisions with the puck. Then the rest of the group, they understood where they're at. If they couldn't get the line easily, they're chipping behind the D, making them go back, turn, make plays. It's hard to do that. So I really liked both the top 6 and the bottom 6, the way they played, and they sustained it for pretty much the whole 60.
Yeah, what was notable to me was the type of goals that McDavid and Draisaitl scored early on in that game. Like, think about the one McDavid scored, right? He's right in and around the crease. He's kind of getting shoved, picks up his own rebound. Like, he scores that goal from 2 feet out. And then you look at the Leon Draisaitl goal, same thing.
I love it.
Right in the crease area. And if you think back to what Jay Woodcroft was looking for from this group, to me, that's exactly the kind of stuff. That's exactly the tone that when those guys set and score those kinds of goals, because we know they can dangle and get the beauties, but those goals, I think, are meaningful at this time of year.
Yeah, I love the way you bring that up because, I thought at the beginning of the first 20 games of the year, so it was a lot of off the rush and specialty teams that was getting it done. You look at the game versus the Sabres, those are hard-earned goals. They're not fun. They're not sexy. Really, no one's going to talk about those and put them on a poster. But, man, are they valuable. And when you see your top 2 guns go in the net and scoring like that, it encourages everyone to get to the hard point, the hard parts of the ice, like the blue point. So I thought it was, those 2 goals, it's a great point made by you. And those points, those goals do set the tone for the rest of the clan.
So Leon Draisaitl, 3rd time in his career, he's got 40. And I know Austin Matthews is having an incredible year from a goal-scoring standpoint, but Draisaitl, his goal scoring prowess, and when he is on, it's some kind of impressive. And if he's heating up a little towards the back end of the season on the goal scoring front, that's going to be massive for this team. What are you seeing out of number 29?
Yeah, there's no doubt that I think the goal scoring is a big part of what he is. And I don't think we projected that when he came in as a rookie. What I like though is the rest of the game that he plays. And he's really starting to embrace the idea of being a leader, away from the puck. So I go back to the Detroit game, 5-on-3, they're down, they need a big save. Was that Detroit? Yeah, I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was the game's blended.
Doesn't
but anyways,
matter. I know what you're saying.
yeah, there's a big 5-on-3 penalty kill, and he gets out there and he takes ownership of it. Great stick in the lane, working hard on the penalty kill, on the faceoffs. Like those things all add up, right? And we know he can score goals, but now that he's really starting to get proud and work hard in those other areas. And again, that's going to filter through the lines. The Derek Ryans, Ryan McLeod's, when Nugent Hopkins gets back, when they see him playing like that, they all need to play like that. So yes, the goals are there, but to go further in the playoffs, they need more than the goals.
How about McDavid getting busted up in the face again? Like that looked so painful, and he was so annoyed. Like the ref goes over to check and see if he's leaking or not, and he was so agitated. He was almost like, just leave me alone. But of course he was, and they got the double minor. Getting one of those is uncomfortable. Getting two in a couple of weeks. Did you ever have something like that happen?
I did. I have very little sympathy for when guys get hit in the face. It's teeth, it's stitches. If you play hockey in the NHL or any level where you have a visor, you're going to have those issues, right? It's just going to happen. So as long as it's not a concussion issue or it's a broken orbital bone or something like that, the stitches, the teeth, the nice thing is you're going to have nice straight teeth, and then you're going to get some nice.
Like you're guaranteed time in the dentist chair when something like that. And I don't know about you. I love my dentist, but I hate the dentist. And that's what I think about when I see a guy spitting out some chiclets is, that's for sure a root canal, for sure.
And that's the problem, is that it's a lot of time. People don't, stitches, I'll take stitches all day long. It takes 10 minutes to get it stitched up, and then you have a good story to tell. And I've got lots, but with the teeth, it's visits after visit after visit. Then when you're done playing, you take from a retainer to get fake teeth that last for a while. Then they don't last forever. So you got to get more new teeth. I'm going through all this now. So it's not great. It's a real nuisance. But like I said, I really have no sympathy, because if you choose to play hockey at a high level, you're going to lose teeth and get stitches.
So of the grill that I'm staring at there in your face, how many are real? What's fake? Like what kind of mess you got going on there? Because it looks good. Like from here, it looks good.
Yeah, that's what my wife tells me. Just stay away. You look really good from a distance. But no, I got hit by a puck, a slap shot in the teeth, and all my front four teeth were they're supposed to be there, knocked back into my mouth. So from the time that happened till my teeth were fixed, I counted, it was 24 hours in a dentist chair. 24 hours. Now that was over multiple visits, but now I've had to replace those teeth. So I'm going through that now. So that's a lot of time too. So listen, I know people have problems with their teeth, and I sound like an old man with dentures, but it's just the way it is. I don't know very many hockey players that played more than 4 or 5 years in the NHL that don't have at least one or two, sometimes way more, fake teeth.
Yeah. Okay, a couple quick hitters on the game. You took note of Derek Ryan and his prowess in the face-off circle. But this guy doesn't get a lot of offensive zone starts. He gets a lot of the tough face-offs, doesn't he?
He sure does. And it's funny how it seemed like to start the year, he didn't really have a role underneath Tippett, or he didn't feel comfortable in that role. Now it's pretty clear. He's going out there for especially the D zone face-offs to the right of the goaltender. Last night, Mike Smith. And you can tell he really is taking ownership. He's getting down. He's making sure everyone's in the right place, and he's snapping that back. And it felt like he won a lot of those last night. But again, there's nothing more important for a player to feel like they have a role and they're valued in that role and they take ownership of it. Derek Ryan's doing that. You see other guys starting to plug into that as well.
Yeah, he's really flourishing under Jay Woodcroft. And he was very outspoken, if you recall, after Dave Tippett was fired and after the first game. He talked a lot. He was quite bold in some of the statements he made about more players being made to feel part of this. And it was very notable, the things that he said at the time, but he's been backing it up. He's been really good. To your point, 5 for 7 in the face-off circle in the defensive zone in that game against Buffalo. He's 57.4% this year. Basically the Oilers' most consistent face-off man.
Well, just another quick point to that, Shagar, is that you look at the way he moved in. Cassian was taking Yamamoto's spot beside McDavid. Now, I don't know if it happened more than 2 or 3 times, but Cassian played quite a few minutes. I think he actually played more than Yamamoto. So there's the chance of filtering a guy in, a few times, and that gets his juices flowing, right? And it gives that line a different look and keeps Cassian engaged. And Yamamoto's still getting his cookies as well. So it works for everybody.
Did you have kids when you played, or you had kids after you were done, didn't you?
After I was done, yeah.
So how about the little daddy baby bounce that Devon Shore's getting right now? As Jason Dreger pointed out post game, 3 goals in 5 games since having the baby. I don't know. Is there something to a baby bounce?
Yeah, he's shedding his baby weight, getting his feet moving again. No, I don't know. You know what? This guy, the goal last night, that's a legitimate goal.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got to give credit to Tyson Barrie. Now, I'm not sure if he meant to pass it up the middle like that. I think he was just trying to get it off the wall, but it goes up there, and Devon Shore makes a good play, pulls away, and makes a good scoring goal. But, good teams find contributions from different people all through the lineup. Yeah, and you look at last night, there was 2 goals from D-men. You got Devon Shore, then the big guys kind of punch. So everyone contributing that 6-1 from the D to the kind of, I want to call the bottom 6 to the top group.
One of the things I noticed too was, there's our first technical mistake of the podcast. So I'm working the board and I'm working the sound. So there's going to be some bad screw ups. So people are just going to have to roll with us because this is the podcast that tries not to edit. Anyways, the point I was going to make is that, this team seemed to value the position they were in last night after they'd had a great start. And I think 2 games ago, they didn't value that position. They let it get away from them. And Tyson Barrie talked post-game a little bit about what their thought process was after they had that lead.
I think maybe as good a game as we've played all year. And after 2 periods, we realized, we'd played a pretty solid game up to that point. It was, we made a point of coming out and kind of drilling home that last 20 to, show us what it feels like to play the full game.
Yeah, that comment, I liked it from him. Show us what it feels like to play the full game. I think he's been around long enough to get it, and he understands what this group needs to get sorted out, doesn't he?
And maturity. You need to have maturity to your game. This doesn't mean that that they're not mature people as individuals, but understanding that you have to play every shift like it's as important as the first shift you went out there. But they didn't have that against Detroit. They kind of let it get away from them. I think there's a real focus and effort and determination to have a mature team effort through the whole game. And that's simple things. That's being ready to start your shift. That's moving your feet instead of reaching, like we saw some of the penalties the other night. Getting the puck deep if there's nothing there. If it's a 3-on-3 and there's nothing there, just chip it by the D-men, go and get it. You'll fight in that zone down there. Now, it's not always sexy hockey, but long-term, it's winning hockey, and it takes away the other team's a chance to kind of counterattack quickly.
Got to talk about Mike Smith, too. I think there was a lot of pressure on Mike Smith heading into last night's game. So he hasn't been playing much this year. He's been injured. He gets it. He's been around a long time. Mikko Koskinen's been playing excellent. There's pressure to bring up the young guy in Stuart Skinner. Smith gets the flu, finally gets himself recovered and gets back in. And I thought that was a game where he battled. He looked like he was battling in there, and that's when he's at his best.
It's a pretty low event game, I thought, for him. I didn't think there was a bunch of great chances, a couple kind of half breakaways, but, from kind of angle, I thought he's played it well. But you could sense in the building that, when he made a save, fans were excited for him and cheering for him. People want him to do well. They want him to get back to where he wants to be. And he's spoken about it before. So I think for him, a big thing is to have that good feeling, get back, have a good practice between the games. And then who knows who starts on Saturday against New Jersey, but they need to find a way to get this guy feeling good about himself.
All right. Good stuff, Struddy. By the way, I forgot to mention that clip of Tyson Barrie. That was brought to us courtesy our Average Joe's sound box. Average Joe's next to Home Depot on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park. I am new at this. I will get these sponsor reads better timed as we move on. Yeah, absolutely. So this was the breakdown brought to you by Park Mazda. And your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road. Check them out. Visit parkmazda.ca. All right, coming up next, it will be time to check in with Darren Dreger and James Duthie, courtesy our friends at Bell Van Construction. Great stuff, Struddy. Thanks, pal. We'll check in with you after Dregs and Duthie forgot you back.
Love it.
Hey, Struddy, question for you. Have you ever tried putting in your own fence?
I sure have. Between digging the posts, mixing up cement and digging the holes, it's absolute killer.
It's brutal on the back. Well, listen, what if I told you you could put in a fence without having to dig a hole or mix any concrete?
I'd be much more likely to come over and help you out.
Yeah, well, you're not the first guy I would call, but thank you for that. Listen, my brother's company, DLR Vinyl Products, they've come up with a system where you can actually put high-quality vinyl fence in the ground without having to dig a hole, without having to mix any concrete. They can teach do-it-yourselfers how to do it, and they can also work with contractors who might be looking to start installing vinyl. It's super high-quality product. The great thing about it is that it has fantastic longevity. You put it in, you don't have to worry about staining or sanding or anything like that. I've been lucky enough, Struddy. They've put in multiple fences in my different yards, and they've built me 3 decks. I have totally abused the fact that my family is in the fencing and decking business, but it's great product. Give Rob a call in Calgary or Rick a call here in Edmonton. This is a company my dad started. It's a family business. I'm super proud of it, and I'm very proud that they are our title sponsors. That's DLR Vinyl Products in Edmonton and Calgary. Hey, it's Ryan Rishaug. While many are feeling the sting of inventory shortages, Park Mazda has you covered. They've got new Mazdas arriving every month, including the redesigned 22CX-5 in whatever color you're looking for. They've also got a huge selection of used vehicles with new arrivals every week and some of the most competitive interest rates on cars, trucks, SUVs, and more. Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park, off Y Road. Schedule a test drive at parkmazda.ca.
Oh, this is big.
Time now for Duthie and Dreger, brought to you by Belvan Construction, specializing in the design, planning, and construction of restaurants, office spaces, professional clinics, and retail spaces. Visit belvanconstruction.com. Dregs, we've been listening to you do that for years and years. I imagine right around trade deadline time, every time that thing bings, has the potential to be something significant, hey?
Yeah, no question about that. And this is actually significant. It's not tweetable just yet. I have to develop the story a little bit more. And if it were more significant, I'd probably do it on the Ray and Dregs podcast or on the James Duthie Rubber Gloves podcast, where they have more than 7 listeners or subscribers. So maybe next year, Rishaug.
You know what? He has been doing that every time his phone pings. For every bit of time that I've known him, that there have been pinging phones, he has followed it with, this is big.
This is big.
When 90% of the time, maybe with the exception of this weekend, it's Holly saying, pick up dog food on the way home.
Well, Dregs, I had the over-under at you plugging your own podcast at 30 seconds, and you absolutely obliterated that. So, James, you want to throw in a plug for the rubber ducky or rubber?
That's the only reason we're on here. You guys can make fun of the name of my podcast, but it's one of the longest-running podcasts in Canada with the nickname Rubber Boots. It's a very clever name in regards to a funny story that happened to me once, which I won't repeat here on the whatever. What's this one called again?
Got your back, pal.
Got your back.
Got
the
your
logo.
back.
So the logo, it took me a while to understand that it's a fist bump. Yeah, because it's kind of like partly when you first look at it, just looks like 4 cylinders and then another cylinder underneath. It looks like some company that does like computer systems or something like that.
It looks like a dumbbell, and we both know, all of us know, Ryan hasn't seen a dumbbell in the last 11 years or so.
Until this morning. Hello, I'll be here all week.
Got your back. By the way,
glove.
Thank you so much to my cousin Carrie, who came up with the logo. She does a fantastic
awkward.
job. No.
Carrie, I've always thought you do great work. I'm just saying, at first glance, I'm not exactly quick, so it took me a second to realize what it was. Then I got it. It was a fist.
Okay, now hold on a sec. Have you had this thing cleared? Have you had this cleared by the Oilers? Because clearly you've stolen the Oiler colors.
Yeah.
So speaking of got your back, You're trying to feed off the back of the Oilers here is what you're
No.
trying to do. That
They
seems
do not
abundantly
have copyright on the colors blue and orange.
Or
And
do
if you
they?
notice, by the way, my Got Your Back hat, no orange on that. I'm not wearing Oilers colors. I am wearing blue and white. So Oilers colors can be for the fans. And when we send you these hats, you'll have Oiler colored hats. Guys, this was a really good start. Super encouraged.
Is it over?
No, we're just going to start now.
Because my window's almost up. I do dog walking in a tight window in the morning, and then my dog walking window ends, and I go straight to Pilates. So you're sandwiched in there where you got about 3 minutes left.
I'm also booked for the Saravalli and Dreger podcast at the top of the hour, so we need to get to this.
The DFO rundown. Those guys are good friends. Both do a good job. Okay, listen. Let's get to a big story for the Maple Leafs last night. Erik Källgren. How big a deal is this? He's young. He's inexperienced. People are kind of going crazy over the fact that maybe the goaltending is solved, but I think we all know this for what it is. This is a young guy that's come in and doing great, Dregs, and he's got a real nice bump. 79 to 82, he's stopped. How do you think the Leafs are processing this performance from this young guy?
Well, he's a short-term reprieve, right? And I think that he's bought them a little bit of time. Peter Mrazek needs a reset. And Jack Campbell's trying to get healthy. They believe in Jack Campbell, and the progress that Campbell has made, they're encouraged by the belief that he's going to come back recharged, both mentally and physically. And that's exactly what they need. But Peter Mrazek was struggling with Campbell on the shelf. Nobody expected Erik Källgren to come in and do what he's done over the last couple of days, but they also don't expect that he's going to carry the load much further. So what it's given them is a bit of a break to allow their two veteran goaltenders to reestablish and get set for the push.
But there's a possibility from what we've seen for the last 3 months that neither one of them is there for the push. And it's, I keep thinking of, if you told a Leaf fan, I'm not sure this conversation has happened. It probably hasn't, but I like to go there. If you told a Leaf fan before the season that 3 days before the deadline, this possible conversation was happening in the offices between Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe, this possible conversation. So do we go with Källgren or trade for Anton Forsberg? Imagine if that sentence, if you told a Leafs fan in October, that would be a sentence uttered by Kyle Dubas. So
something has gone wrong.
Here's the thing: I always goalies is the biggest roll of the dice. Pretty much all the time, but particularly at trade deadline, when even if you go out and got a big name like Marc-Andre Fleury or something, there's no guarantee he's going to be any better than the guys you have. And it's not impossible. Like your Dregs is 100% right. They have to be realistic about Källgren, but it isn't impossible. Like, guys have gone on heaters. Remember the Hamburglar run there in Ottawa, where he had absolutely no resume whatsoever and went 21-1-1 or something to take them on that run of the playoffs. I mean, it would be a lot to depend on that guy, but I think you kind of got to ride him for now until the bubble bursts. But Dregs is right. One of those other two guys has to get it straightened out by playoff time, or they're doomed.
Yeah, how lovable is he going to be to Leaf fans, though? I was listening to his post game, and he was asked about his family, of course, which is back in Sweden, hasn't had a chance to see them in a long time. Listen to what he said, fellas.
Yeah, it was a bit emotional, and I haven't seen them in
oh boy, there's our first technical glitch. This is what I get for trying to run my own board. Hang on a second, here he is.
Yeah, it was a bit emotional, and I haven't seen them in 8 months now, so it's been a long while since I last saw them. So yeah, I missed them.
Just for the record, I heard it the first time perfectly. You just interrupted the clip, so I just.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, so it's not the board, or it's the operator of the board that's causing.
Yeah. Well, I made the decision on this podcast that I'm running my own soundboard, and I don't care if it's a train wreck. I like doing that stuff, and so I'm going to do it. So
do you know what that's called? That's alligator arms, right? That's what that is. You don't want to pay anyone to do it.
Dregs will remember this with pain, but of the gimmicky stuff we do on trade deadline. 1 year, and I think Dregs, you were already over with us by then. They gave me a soundboard where I could hit buttons to make sound effects go.
That. No,
so I had a laugh track. I had crickets, which I often used when I threw to the trade breakers and nothing was happening. I can't remember what the heck else I had, but I it was a really bad mistake for them to give me this because it was right under the desk and I literally had these buttons to push, and I would do I would do laugh tracks at the worst possible time, like when somebody said something dead seriously. Oh, so you got one of those?
Yeah, I got one of these.
Of course he does.
Yeah,
Did you add the laugh track to most of Drake's comments?
No, that's not it.
That's for
No,
me.
that's not.
That's
That's
applause.
not. What have
That's
we got?
applause for me.
What I got there?
So you stole. You actually saw that on Trade Center, and one of the many ideas you've taken from me for your own podcast.
I've been stealing from you for an incredibly long time, yet I am not having anywhere near the success. So I think I need to maybe adjust my theft to somebody else. And then that one. I don't know how I'm ever going to work those in and then have them make any sense, though. So
I want to say something before we continue here. I've had the Rubber Boots podcast. This is season 8. Okay,
never heard of it. Yeah,
and since COVID started, we never bothered to get any technology, and so I've been doing it on these crappy AirPods. And just because of you, my love for you, and I know how much you care about this podcast and how dedicated the people of Edmonton and the surrounding areas will be to this podcast, I went out and got a fancy mic just for you guys, just for this podcast, a fancy mic, and it's the Yeti mic. And I'm not very tech, as you know, Ryan. This was the thing. This is the little little instructions they gave me for the Yeti mic.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest instruction book ever because all it says is, find the little thing here. It
Doesn't sound like it works.
It says,
this is great audio for people listening. By the way,
plug. It's got a little thing that says, plug that into the screen. Plug that into the headphones. That's the one page of instructions. It's the only thing that I understood. And so now it's working fine.
And we still needed to help you before this segment started. Okay, gimmicky segments. I don't know how many we're going to do. I don't know. We'll try one today, and if it's terrible, we will scrap it. I'm going to call this scale of 1 to 10. So bear with me here, guys. Dregs, we'll start with you.
Us on this. I know you are.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to. Okay, scale of 1 to 10. Dregs. Chances that Claude Giroux ends up a member of the Colorado Avalanche. Scale of 1 to 10.
4.
Thinking Florida?
Yeah. I would have said 8 out of 10 for Florida, just to allow a bit of wiggle room for Colorado. But I feel strongly it's Florida. 1,000
games clean with the Philadelphia Flyers. There's something nice about that. Hey, it was celebrated. Could be his last one. Okay, James. Scale of 1 to 10. How much does your heart sink when a Canadian team gets a big trade done in the week before the trade deadline? I'm thinking Sherratt.
I was more immature earlier in my career, and I would get physically ill because of it. But as I've matured, I've realized really anything that comes within the last week, you can still spend time on. So that's the fact that it was Monday or whatever, a week before, is not going to stop us from talking about the Ben Sherratt trade on trade deadline. I think you throw out the rules of what is old because the entire show is about trade talk. So I'm going to give it it still bothers me, but I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh, I would have pegged that as higher. Okay, this one's for both of you, but Dregs, I know you're going to jump in on this. Scale of 1 to 10. How annoying has my Twitter feed been for the last 5 days?
Is 12 an option? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Man.
It's
Oh, wow. You know what I haven't seen? We've seen an abundance of got your back tweets. I have not seen very many. Here's what the Oilers might do at the trade deadline tweets. So
that's not true.
Feels like the first job has kind of been forgotten and put aside for the podcast. And
I agree.
Hey, I may have made a little note, copy Dregs on it to Stu Johnson, our president, about that.
Your support has been moving this week, guys. I texted some of our, I tweeted some of our text chain the other day, but there's a couple here that really stood out to me this week. James in particular, I love this one from you. Quote, I want to be paid even if I'm not on the show. No different than McDavid being hurt for a couple of games. I particularly like that one from you. Dregs, if the checks bounce, we're talking about that on the podcast. So I've been so nervous for like 3 weeks trying to get this thing together, and you guys have been contributing to that significantly. So thanks, fellas. Appreciate that.
Hey, that's what you need. That's what you need us around to keep you humble, buddy.
All right, good stuff.
I know you're sending us the hats, right? Because we're part of the team now, so we're entitled to the got your back swag.
Yeah, I got the coffee mug too going.
Yeah,
And
you can keep that.
Are you playing us out, by the way? Is this what the
yeah,
music?
this is me doing this.
Dregs and I will decide when the segment is over.
No, I get to decide. This is my show. You guys are being played off stage. Beat it.
Well, Duthie and I at least were kind enough to have a shower and look presentable as TV people. I don't know what you see. I think that's why you got Strudwick as part of this too, right? You know,
yeah,
you can
some
both throw
legitimacy.
hair jokes at each other. Wear your hats.
That's it. You're done. You're done. You guys are out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to doing this again. We'll check in just after trade deadline, and we'll see how much action actually happens. So this has been Duthie and Dregs. We need to figure out a better name for this segment, so maybe we'll ask the listeners to contribute to that.
Dregs and Duthie would be great.
Whoa,
Dregs and Duthie. Okay, you guys, you're.
I won't do it.
I
won't do it if I'm not first.
Okay, this has been Duthie and Dregs, brought to you by Belvan Construction. Coming up next, we ask the question, who's got your back? Brought to you by DeBoers. Get yourself straightened out and decked out for the new golf season at DeBoers. See you, fellas. That was smooth.
All
Our
right,
audio
buddy.
feed was smooth.
If you're a business owner looking for a general contractor to build or renovate your business, no matter how big or small, Belvan Construction should be your first call. Specializing in the design, planning, and construction of restaurants, office spaces, professional clinics, and retail spaces, Belvan can assist you from start to finish. Learn more by going to belvanconstruction.com.
Folks, golf season is just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but I am some kind of fired up over it. It's the perfect time to get yourself fitted for new clubs or some great new apparel. Well, DeBoers has you covered for all of it. Their facility is first class with amazing TrackMan technology in their simulators and top-of-the-field fitting specialists. You can order now for spring delivery, and they've also got a bunch of new 22 apparel for you to go check out. It's a fantastic group down there at DeBoers. The shop has a great positive feel. I highly recommend you check them out on the corner of 53rd Street and 99th Avenue. DeBoers, helping you play better golf since 1999. Average Joe's Sports Bar in Sherwood Park has proudly served the community and supported minor sports in the area for almost 20 years. It's a great gathering place for sports fans. Average Joe's has massive big screen TVs, comfortable seating, and a friendly staff waiting to make your experience anything but average. Come check it out on Baseline Road, right next to Home Depot, or make a reservation by calling 780-417-1113. That's Average Joe's on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park. Rolling along here on Got Your Back, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Struds, time now for the first ever Who's Got Your Back segment, brought to you by DeBoers, helping you play better golf, your local golf shop for the last 23 years. Let's just take a minute and kind of explain this concept to people. So this is a hockey podcast, right, Struddy? We're talking primarily about hockey, but one of the other things we wanted to do was give people an opportunity to tell us stories about a time in their life where somebody had their back. All those years of hockey, I imagine you have multiple stories like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You need a lot of people support you through anything you're trying to get through.
Yeah, and we find those are great stories to listen to, and we find they're great stories to tell as well. Just makes you feel good to tell those stories because it lets you kind of shine a light on somebody else in your life who came through and did a solid for you. So we're going to do it in this segment a couple of different ways. We're going to ask our listeners to email us their Who's Got Your Back stories. gybpod@gmail.com is where they can email those stories. That's gybpod@gmail.com. Sometimes it'll be in the form of an interview where we have somebody come in and tell us their story. And other times it'll be a featured storyteller who basically sends us their story on a voice note. And that is the way we kick it off today. I'm excited about this one. We turn to a country music juggernaut here in Canada. Born in St. Paul, Alberta, he is a singer, songwriter, musician, and a big freaking success in this country. Struddy, I first met Brett Kissel back before he kind of exploded onto the scene. And he's as genuine as they come. Just a great guy with a great family. So I'm so happy that he shared this story with us for our first ever Who's Got Your Back segment, brought to you by DeBoers.
Hey, this is Brett Kissel, and I've got a story about somebody in my life who had my back in a moment where I really needed it. And this guy has been one of my heroes since the day I picked up a guitar. His name is Garth Brooks. I'll tell you the story. It's the year 2016, the month is March, and my wife and I, we've just had a little baby. Her name is Mila. She's 2 months old. And we get a call that I have this chance to go open for Garth in Hamilton, Ontario. So Garth has 6 sold-out shows at the First Ontario Centre, and this comes at a wonderful time in my career, but obviously a very interesting time now in my life, trying to navigate the new work-life balance with a newborn. My wife, Cecilia, had traveled with me for years in our marriage to every show, but now we're trying to navigate what the new system is going to be like. Can we travel with the newborn? Can we, do 250 days a year on the road, on a bus, in planes, and traveling city to city to city? We didn't really know, and we were just, getting our bearings as new parents. But this is too great an opportunity to pass up. I really want Cecilia to be there. I really want my daughter to be there. Now, the challenge leading up to that is that I had already been on the road for probably 3 weeks, and in a lot of ways away from my family, coming in and out, but most of the time away. So we really needed to be together, and knowing that I was going to be in Hamilton for at least 6 nights, this is the perfect opportunity to meet up with Cecilia. Well, Cecilia comes in, and she's got the newborn little baby in Mila, and it was a challenging flight, and obviously we get to the arena, and you know what, it's just a moment where I need to kind of have my head on straight to put on the best possible show that I can, but I want to be the best dad that I can and spend as much time as I can with my family, but also, be like game ready and show ready. We're backstage and get a knock on the door, and I think it's going to be a venue person or maybe a tour manager, but it's Garth. And it's Trisha Yearwood. He says, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the tour. We're so happy that you're here. And me and Cece were like, we are so happy and thank you for this opportunity. Garth, wow, this is going to be amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then Garth is like mid-sentence, hold it. You have a little baby? I didn't know about that. Gimme. So Garth takes Mila and he holds her and he just rocks her to sleep. And he visits with us while he holds Mila for an hour. He said, man, I didn't know you had a kid and congratulations. And you know what? It's a real challenging time, to be a musician and to be out on the road. But you know what? I'll be thinking about you. And if there's anything I can do to make you more comfortable, you just let me know. And Cecilia and I say, no, Garth and Trisha, you've done enough. This is so great. Thank you so much for letting me come and open these shows for you. We appreciate it. Garth leaves. I step out on stage. I play my half-an-hour show, me and my guitar. We go back to the hotel. We come back the very next day to the same arena and the same dressing room. And we can't believe the entire dressing room has been converted from a stinky hockey dressing room to a nursery. Black curtains, a crib, a bottle warmer, a microwave, a baby monitor, blackout curtains, lamps, a white noise machine, just everything. It literally looks like he took a catalog from West Coast Kids and converted our arena dressing room to the most gorgeous nursery. And I have no idea how he did it or how much money he spent, but we could not believe how beautiful this room was. And Garth knocks on the door and he comes in and he says, I know firsthand how difficult it is to, be traveling with your family. So I wanted to make sure that this was as comfortable, a moment for you and for Cecilia and for this little newborn Mila. We couldn't believe it. I started to cry. So did Cecilia. And he says, literally, don't worry, son, I got you. That was a moment where somebody didn't have to do something so extraordinary, and yet Garth did that for me. And it made the road a very safe place for me, for my wife, and now for all 4 of my kids, thanks to that incredible moment. And fellas, thanks for letting me tell that story. I know it was a long one, but I just wish you nothing but the best with the podcast. I've been thinking a lot about kind of what I wanted this story to be, and I had 50 different stories I could have told, but that was a real meaningful one for me. And the fact that I remember vividly Garth literally saying, I got your back. Well, I just thought it was just serendipitous and perfect for the podcast. So, good luck, you guys.
Wow, Brett Kissel. How unbelievable is that? Garth Brooks taking care of your baby.
You never hear a bad story about Garth Brooks. I got to meet him once, and he's just such a genuine guy. And it honestly, it's an amazing story, but I don't think it really surprises me about Garth. And I think Kissel will do the same thing for anyone else in the same position.
Oh, for sure. I was lucky enough. Brett hosted our family down in Calgary at one of the concerts where he got to open up for Garth Brooks. And I have to say, first meeting Brett playing a sound stage at Millennium Place, and then a few years later, watching him walk out to open for Garth Brooks was off the charts. Brett, thank you so much. We're so happy to have had you here on our Who's Got Your Back segment. Just a great story. All right, we're also going to do some emails, gybpod@gmail.com. And these can be real short and real simple. I love this one from Jason Struddy. He says, my fiance walked out on me 3 days before our wedding. Now every year on the anniversary of the day I would have been married, my best friend texts me a hilarious and completely inappropriate picture reminding me that I dodged a bullet. His humor always makes a hard day better. That comes to us from Jason. Sounds like Jason has a ride or die, someone that's got his back, eh?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that'd be a tough one. But, it's those little details I think that people really appreciate from friends.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, listen, thank you for your contributions. We put a call out for people to send us their stories, and we got some awesome ones. We look forward to bringing them to you in the weeks to come. Remember, send them to our Average Joe's inbox at gybpod@gmail.com. That's gybpod@gmail.com. And you can be part of Who's Got Your Back, brought to you by DeBoers. Who knows, Struddy, we might even have a little bit of swag to send to people maybe each month. If we have an email that we really, really love, we can send some Got Your Back swag your way. Struddy, thanks, buddy. This was really fun. I'm going to let you go, and I think we'll try and check in from trade deadline day. I'll be in Denver with the team, so we'll see what the Oilers do, and maybe you and I will have a chance to break it down.
Chat then, buddy.
All right. See you, pal. All right. Well, that's it. This is going to wrap up our first podcast. It was a ton of fun. Got to send a massive thank you to all of our sponsors. DLR Vinyl Products. This is my brother's company. This is a company that my dad founded. It means the world to me that they've come on as title sponsors. Park Mazda, our good friends, Mitch and company over there, always so supportive. Belvan Construction, really happy to have them on board, as well as DeBoers Golf Shop and Average Joe Sports Bar in Sherwood Park. I also have to send a couple of other thank yous because putting a podcast together is a Herculean task, and I could not have done this alone. I leaned on a couple of real good friends. Bryn Griffiths from the Outsiders podcast with Robin Brownlee. He was a rock. Helped me out technically, helped me out with content. I was on the phone with him for hours. Bryn, thank you. And I encourage all of you to check out the Outsiders podcast. And also my good friend, Graham Neal, my old colleague from CTV. Yeah, you know him, you love him. He was the guy that did all the funny stuff at the end of the CTV news. Well, he runs GNR Entertainment right now. They put on some great productions. So to Bryn and to Graham, I thank you kindly. And I thank all of you kindly for downloading and listening to Got Your Back. It's been a ton of fun, and I can't wait to keep on going. This has been Got Your Back, presented by DLR Vinyl Products.